Good evening, everybody. Caught you out a minute late. Now then, keep you on
Don't
your
set your watches,
toes.
boys.
We're nothing if not completely unpredictable here. So, well, hello everybody. Welcome to another Thursday night live stream. Well, it's gonna be a bit of a salty one, I think. There may be some.
What is it? 6 inches of salt forecast for
Yeah,
tonight?
there might be a little bit of salt going around. Oh, hello. No sound.
No sound.
Okay. My OBS is showing sound meter active for me and David. Can we have? Oh, okay.
Sound check.
Woo.
It works.
Woo. Very nearly technical difficulties. For everybody who ticked it on their bingo card, you can rub that off. Because we haven't had them yet. Not say we won't, but we haven't had them yet.
We're professionals here.
We hope everybody had a good week of gaming. I'll tell you what I have got to do. I've got to reconnect my mobile because I can show people my desk. We hope you all had a good...
Any particular reason you're showing people your desk, or are you just being a show-off?
Thank you for scaring the out of us, Cheese Me.
Did Cheese Me forget that his computer
no, I think he was just
was
punking
muted?
us. Jerry's straight in there. It's Cheese. He can't turn on speakers. Are you a bit of a... As Jerry let the can out the bag, Cheese Me, are you a bit of a technophobe here, mate? Or is this something you have history at? Fucking scaring everybody shitless with your technological incompetence. Anyway, welcome to the live stream, as I said. Quick sip of coffee.
Coffee?
Ah,
You're not
that's
on the
better.
beverages tonight?
Great to see everybody in the chat, all the usual faces. I'll have a quick shout out of everybody who's here.
Rub on off. Oh,
so
Jesus.
We've got Tim, stroke some dude on YouTube, Cheese Me.
Tim's back! Tim's alive!
Because of Ben, stroke Crispin, Darren, who's nice and not confusing and actually only has one name, which is refreshing. Orinoco.
Yeah, but Darren's demon sub everywhere else.
Jerry, the gaming Gandalf. We're not worthy. Yeah, a lot of the usual faces. Welcome to the show, guys. So, what are we going to be doing tonight? If you're joining us later on YouTube and haven't seen one of our soirees before, let me tell you what's going to be happening over the next couple of hours.
David's looking for paint.
Pretty much fuck all. But in lieu of pretty much fuck all, David and I will be showing you what we're going to be hobbying on if we get a chance to, in between all the talking bollocks. Then, after we've done that, we'll have a brief chat about what we got up to at Gaming Club on Monday night.
What did I get up to Gaming Club at Monday night?
You played me at Carnivale, you clown.
Oh, yes, I did.
And we can go into that in gruesome detail. And...
Oh, please don't make me relive that fucking experience. It was fucking terrible.
Then there's normally a news segment where we cover what we've seen on YouTube and that sort of thing. There isn't fuck all pretty much in there tonight. I've really only got one thing that I pulled off YouTube, and it's linked into the main topic. So
can you stop making innuendos, because you're going to just get clipped to death this evening if you're not careful.
Clip away! So yeah, there isn't going to be much of that, not unless the man David wants to throw me any curveballs or anything like that.
No, because I've not been near the internet for a week because I've been trying to be good.
Oh, you actually been living real life, not the sort of virtual.
No,
fucking...
I'm just on a self-imposed spending ban.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
And stay the fuck away from the internet for risk and fear of spending money.
With your pathetic and puny levels of restraint, that makes perfect sense. So then we'll get probably a little bit earlier than 9 o'clock this week. We'll be getting on to our main topic, which is inspired by But for God's sake, I don't want to spend an hour talking about fucking Games Workshop taking the entire, half of the Space Marines that they've ever made and binning the fucking things and basically setting the internet on fire. And meanwhile, Jerry will keep us up to date with the football scores in the chat. Thank you, Jerry. If you just want to pop in the comments, Jerry, what exactly match you're watching, who's playing who, because otherwise I won't have a fucking clue. Footy on G's TV at Jerry's house. Who'd have thought it? Our topic tonight was sort of inspired by Games Workshop's fucking shenanigans this week, but is going to be a little bit broader. And we want to talk about...
We won't just talk about GW.
No.
We will have a go and nail some other names to the cross. Looking at you, Steamforge Games.
We want to talk about this constant habit of change that seems to sort of like be a thing in tabletop wargaming, certainly. But we'll get into that. And I have got some slides which I need to get set up so David can entertain everybody with a bit of juggling. Maybe a sing and dance
I'm just currently
routine.
trying to get my gloves on and I'm really struggling.
Or he could be inflating gloves, Maybe it's some sort of child puppet. Start making animals out of them or something. Can you do that?
No, I can't.
Oh, okay. Fucking useless.
I can't do rubber-fingered animals. That doesn't work.
We've got 3 Europa Conference qualifiers with Irish clubs. Are those two? One of these days, Jerry, you'll put a sentence down that is not in any way cryptic or confusing and is just the straight answer to a straight question. It'll probably be on your deathbed, but I'm sure it'll happen.
Hell will probably freeze over first.
And the other thing I apologise for, I have got a stinking cold or something. I've never suffered with allergies, so I don't think it's that. But if I have a coughing fit, I will try and mute it or cover the mic to not deafen everybody, but I've been coughing on and off for 2 or 3 days, and frankly, I can't control it. So, do you want to go to your desk first, mate, or should I go?
We can go down to my desk. Let me just move my camera across.
Let's see what's happening in David's room. Oh, no, actually. Quick. Entertain the people. I need to get your camera.
What? Do a dance and a jig?
Yeah.
Because you're incompetent and you didn't set stream up properly. Technical difficulties.
Now's your chance. Quick, take that bingo card. Video Ninja David.
Ow, I just got attacked by something and I don't know what I got attacked by. Seamlessly?
Sorry, carry on, mate.
Hang on, it's probably not going to seamlessly transition because my phone's decided to lock because it's a piece of shit. There we go. Should be live and in HD.
Boom!
So, boys and girls at home, for those that were thinking...
Sorry, Ellen. Just keep your hand over your face. You'll be fine. Look at Orinoco's comment. It's okay. We won't hear it over the airbrush.
So, those saying last week, these tanks were black. Yes, they were, and now they're zenithal grey because I like doing things on hard mode. We're going to make them green tonight, boys and girls. So the airbrush will, unfortunately, be wearing away. Yeah,
Flames of War proceeding flat out. What have you got? And you've got Americans there, haven't you, mate?
Americans, yes. And the 3D printer has been going burr this week, and I've got some dry stone walling.
Now, you can tell everybody about this. This is...
Kings and Country Kickstarter from Printable Scenery.
Printable Scenery, yeah. I knew it was a Printable Scenery Kickstarter, but I couldn't remember which one. King and Country?
King and Country Kickstarter, so it's like medieval / northern France, basically. So we've got a lot of castles, ruined churches, other things. Usually scaled for 28mm, scaled down at 60% for Flames of War.
Yep.
So we've got some straight sections, we've got some blown out pieces, and then we've got a load of curves and other bits and pieces that are out of shot right now.
Okay. But you had no issue scaling these things down, did you?
Nope, not at all.
No?
Oh dear, Cheese Me's complaining already.
Yeah.
Look, yes, it was a 12-hour print to print 12 walls. Some may say that's quite a time sink, but all I've got to do is paint them. I haven't got to actually build the fuckers.
You could just buy them. Plenty of people.
Yeah,
do
but I won't be
walls.
able to buy them for as cheap as I can make them.
Well,
Because the other thing
yeah,
is, I
all
haven't
right.
had to support all this shit
God.
and everything else.
Oh God.
And I've got a 6x4 table to cover, and I've got trees and other bits and pieces and my roads that I've spent some money on.
Yeah.
So let's cheap out a bit. Let's 3D print a ruined church. Let's 3D print some dry stone walling.
To be fair, they did look quite good. I'm personally not complaining. Well, because I will be putting an apron on to get over the weird sort of like visual effect of this shirt because it's.
Oh,
really
what? It looks like you've
irritating.
got fucking zebra stripes over your front.
Yeah. Some like psychedelic 60s fucking
Are you tripping on acid, or is that me?
Whoa, what's going on? Yeah, so I'm not going to complain. I had a quick look at them on Monday night on Club, and I'm really impressed for, what was basically a really easy scale down. And the tabletop, fucking hell, I'm terrible with names. Printable scenery stuff is banging, generally. And it's good to see.
You've got a Frostgrave table. How's that going for you?
Oh, I've not made any progress on it, but I've got too many irons in the fire. I need to get some stuff fucking sorted. But what was I going to say? The other thing that's nice to see is David's FDM printer is finally producing great results with no fucking 20 hours of cleanup and fucking threading,
swearing at it,
and sort of like not failing one print in 3, which is like what you want because
it's a pleasant experience for a change.
Yeah. So that's what David's up to. Mine is a little bit ambitious for a stream where I'm planning to do plenty of interaction and stuff, but I'm going to go with it because I need to go with it, and I've not really left myself a lot of time. So everybody's seen this is part of my UK Games Expo haul. I absolutely binged out on some of the Oni demons that I was missing from Malifaux.
You're doing some Jade Warriors?
And they're actually, let's turn this box over, they're the Obsidian Oni that I want to get painted. And I was having a think, you know what I thought might work quite well for Obsidian Oni? Correct me if I'm wrong, isn't Obsidian black?
Yes, it is. Oh, are you about to use a black metallic?
Turbo Dork.
From Turbo Dork.
Black Ops.
And it means you can get the airbrush out.
I mean, there won't be two of us fucking assaulting your ears with rude airbrush nonsense. I'm not going to be doing that tonight. But when I get them painted, when I do get the paint on them, I'm thinking this is the way to go. What does everybody think? Utter madness, or could it give you an otherworldly, demonic look?
Right, boys and girls. Answers on a postcard, is that annoying?
Not to me, but I haven't got to sit at home and listen to it. Have you got it running at the minute?
Yes, it was.
It's way better than it was the other week. The other week, even I can hear it.
I've changed my microphone position, so I'm speaking into the bottom of the cardioid.
Okay. You see, look, he's learning. He's learning. It's almost like we've been doing this for over a year. Almost.
Fucking hell, it's, what, 18 months nearly
I know.
now?
Fucking don't even tell me. Right, okay.
Where have the last 18 months
now
of
then,
our life
I
gone?
tell you what, is anybody else up to anything? I haven't seen Darren. Darren normally is the first one to wade in. We obviously know Jerry's watching the football.
Darren did earlier in the chat mention that he's doing something with the multi-award winning Moonstone. I nearly slipped up there. Sorry, Jerry. I apologise. Praise be Lord Jerry.
Praise be to gaming Gandalf. Darren said, I finished my dragon, so I'm about to start painting a wizard's tower from Northumbrian Tin Soldier. And he got that,
and of one of your nice companies.
That sounds awesome, mate.
What's the gaming Gandalf up to other than watching the football?
Ooh. So yeah, I've had a quick scroll through the chat. I can't see anybody else has committed to any hobby. So, anybody else? Dan's doing his Death Guard. Hello, Dan. Do you know what? That's I was looking. Now here you go, Tim. Did you realise I was on your stream on Tuesday? No, you didn't, because I was lurking while I was painting my. I'll show everybody at home. I've made a start on painting some of my Carnivale terrain, and while I was doing that, I was checking out what Tim was doing on his live stream over on Twitch on Tuesday, and they covered. Was it your project that they covered, Crispin, or was it another? Because they did cover a project on OTT where somebody had done these the 40k Lord of the Rings Fellowship sort of proxies, and it looked bloody amazing. You're building minis. Tim is building minis. Well, it's got Star Wars. Bot War?
Yeah, no, I think it is Star Wars because I did see his Instagram post earlier.
Oh, okay. Okay, yours was on UHH. Still need Bilbo. Okay. Oh, Orinoco's doing Dead Man's Hand. Oh, it's not Star Wars, not Bot Wars.
Confused pool noises.
We'll never guess. Okay. A Gundam.
Not 40k.
Oh my lord, no. Surely not. Anyway.
He's finally getting around to doing that prize that he got.
Prize?
The one that OTT took the piss out of him for. That he won. The 40k stuff.
Oh. Yeah, no Gundam. Battletech. Oh, that's a... Actually, no, he said miniatures. I'm sure he said miniatures. I was going to say, have you started on... I noticed you did a YouTube post. You're thinking about leaping into a terrain project, aren't you? I haven't voted yet because I'm not sure. See,
what are the options?
Even Limburger's saying the 40k stuff, question mark. Well, he's going to keep us entertained in the chat. Let's see, what have we got here? Let's just... so, we've already mentioned it. Let's talk about what we did at the club on Monday.
David got some migraine.
Oh, God, shut up. So, we did mention it a couple of weeks ago, but David and I wanted to join in with the global campaign for Carnivale, which is being run by some fans out of the Facebook group. If you want to see the full details, you can go back. I think it was 2 weeks ago we mentioned it in our live stream. And I did put a link to the Facebook group in the comments. Essentially, it's a 12-game campaign, I think, or maybe it's 8. Whatever. There's a new scenario that rolls around every fortnight, and we played scenario 1. And it was close, but David won because because I'm so used to doing 2D line of sight, I made a couple of massive errors because I was failing to think in the full 3-dimensionality of Carnivale, and I basically just didn't get my model safe into cover, or I didn't get so that I could target his models. I didn't grab too many pictures because, as David's alluded to, the game was pretty intense. David and I both enjoy Carnivale, but when it's a game you don't play a lot, it is quite a beast. And frankly,
and I would To
the
hasten to
rulebook
add.
doesn't help.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. TT,
Yeah,
your rulebook department needs shooting.
yeah. Your rulebook and layout is pretty much
Egregious.
yeah, it blows. It is so tricky to find things that the actual big core rulebook, I think, had an index of sorts, but then I don't think you reproduced it in Blood on the Water, which is like a step backwards. It's just it's a pain in the ass. So yeah.
Yes, Dan, I was having a brain aneurysm because that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
So,
But
first couple of turns, Cookie couldn't roll for shit.
yeah,
Failed every single test, apart from when I was rolling the dice not in a test, and then I would succeed.
yeah, the dice were a bit all over the place, but dice games. Man, what are you going to do? I think you played a smart game though. I don't think you made any tactical gaffes. I made tons of tactical gaffes. For example, throwing loads of my vampires. So here is my. I have 2 brides of Dracula, Miriam and I can't. This one begins with C.
I was about to say begins with the C, but I can't remember the name.
No, I can't. And then I've got the Stryer Crone, which is like the flying leader model, and then a couple of cheap gargoyles again with flying, which struggle to do much, but they're pretty much placeholders in the list. But I tried to attack his Doctor's leader model, which is just there in the top right of this picture, but my creatures just bounced off him. He was an absolute close combat monster, and I threw loads of models away on him.
Did fairly well against my guy up on top of the building, though. My what's the guy?
Because David had this irritating fucking model that's got basically a laser gun that shoots halfway, well, 3/4 of the way across the board. So I had to pretty much ambush that tosser quickly. So I did that quite successfully because I got my flying miniatures. They went soaring up into his face, and I dealt with him, but unfortunately that was all I managed to deal with. Everything else.
Meanwhile, the rest of my faction is crossing half of the faction is crossing the big fucking marina that we have in front of us, jumping off the side of the walls and down into the water, scoring the victory points, because we were playing with agendas. And then the other half just loitered to stop you scoring at the end.
Yeah, we both sort of managed to spoil each other's scoring on the main objective. But yeah, I after the game, I did a little bit of searching online for rules queries, because we had a couple of things that we didn't think looked quite right. And I've discovered that post the Blood on the Water rules changes, my faction is basically considered garbage now. Dracula's the only model worth playing, Vlad, and everything else is pretty much dog shit, which is typical. Whereas the Doctors, which is David's faction, is sort of like the poster boys of Carnivale and are in the best place. But hey ho, it is what it is. I'll take it. It was. Pardon me.
You say that, but then some of the writing on them. If you take it rules as written, that bride is broken. Miriam. Would you like to care to explain for the boys and girls at home, if you play broken shit, what happens?
One of the rules that we queried, and actually the card is technically misprinted, but it's not been officially errated yet. I'm going to sneeze again. I do apologise, everybody. Okay, so Miriam is one of the brides of Dracula, and she has this ability that says something to the effect of, when at the beginning of each character turn, now character turn is a term in Carnivale meaning the beginning of a model's activation. okay? But in the game rules, the technical term is character turn. And her rule says at the beginning of each character turn, she regains 1 command point, and she starts the game with 4. You can spend command points during your activation, during other models' activations that have line of sight to you, during the pre-game setup phase, pre-round setup phase, where you can use it to trade out secondary objective cards. So you've got lots of opportunities to spend your 4 in
And
a
as
turn.
as an interrupt.
Yeah, that's handing it off to another model during that model's activation or something like that.
No, because you can use it to give an extra action point to something, can't you? But you can then also use it to perform an out of sequence thing.
Yeah, but that's... Can you... whatever. So you've got loads of opportunities to spend these 4 points, okay? And unlike most models in Carnivale don't regrow command points. When you spend them, they're spent, okay? Obviously, her ability, rules as written, says at the beginning of each character turn. So that is, technically, when any model begins its character turn on the table. Which you can obviously guess is utterly fucking broken. Because it means she would basically never not have full character command points. Very rarely. What it should say, and I have clarified with the game development team on Facebook, is it should say at the beginning of each of her character turns, or this model's character turns, which is a much more sensible, she regrows 1 of her command points at the start of her go. Yeah, we spotted it straight away, Cheese Me, and I was like, there's no fucking way I'm playing it that way. We'll play it that she regrows 1 at the start of her turn, then we'll check with the official sources, and indeed, that was the message that came back, that yes, no, that is not how that is supposed to work at all. Yeah, as I say, a simple wording error, but it was easily fixed, and we moved on from there. And as I say, in summary, great game, really enjoyed it. It was a little bit rules intense, because for people who've not played Carnivale, I would definitely recommend it to anybody who likes a small scale, few models, and a complex skirmish game. It is not a game I would ever recommend to a beginner.
It's not a Fisher Price, my first miniatures war game.
Do not start here with your wargaming journey. Everything has rules around it. You can climb up buildings, parkour across buildings, jump down on enemy models, blah, blah, blah. Everything is like, test for this, test for that. You've got diving, swimming.
And the tests are different, whether they're opposed or unopposed, and deciding what it is a bit of a headache. And...
Yeah, and that's crucial. What David's just highlighted. You have a bit like Infinity. You have unopposed tests and opposed tests. But the problem is, unlike Infinity, where it's quite cut and dried what circumstances you're in, it's a little bit more flexible in Malifaux. Carnivale. You can tell what I'm building. And mind blown. The rules, there is a free version of the rules, I believe, online. It isn't like Infinity, Dan. Infinity's the better game, in my humble opinion. I like Infinity more. I love the aesthetic of Carnivale. I don't think the rule system is more clunky. I mean, given the fact that David and I are quite experienced gamers, because we don't play this every month, we were like, each time we play it, we're like, hang on a minute. So for an opposed test, you roll first, then I roll. It's just so easy to fuck things up. Whereas I find Infinity is much cleaner in that when I'm playing Infinity, I have a less friction.
I'll tell you the other thing with Infinity. That app. The fact that, okay, I'm not quite sure on this rule. Pull it up and we'll have a look at it.
Look at
I know Jerry's going to be triggered.
Look at Cheeseme's comment. Do you know what? You might actually have something there, Cheeseme, because as you say, I think Carnivale. This is Carnivale had an edition with the original company. It was then bought by TT, and they did a rules revision and update with the Blood on the Water release. So technically, it's its third iteration. But yes, Infinity is on N4, so Infinity is one ahead. That is a valid pointer, and might explain why one's a little bit more polished and smooth than the other. Because I don't know how you feel, mate. Carnivale's magic system seems a bit... It's difficult for me to get my Swede around.
Oh, yeah, but don't forget, last time was the first time you were playing with Magic.
That is true. I don't normally run them.
I felt that way when I first started.
The other thing is, it's just occurred to me, I am probably biased because, like is classic for me, I've picked a hard mode faction. So, there's a stat called Will in Carnivale that drives spellcasting, reactions. You can use it to boost dice rolls. All the vampire models have 0 will, and the way that they work is they spend their health in lieu of will, but then they can regenerate their health by basically sucking the blood of enemies. So already I've got one less resource than everybody else, and I have to manage my life points to in lieu of that resource, and then plan to get it back and not die in the meantime. So, yeah. Yet again, Paul picks the fucking hard mode faction. You hobby on hard mode, mate. I game it.
Actually, yeah, like we double team the hard mode. Just saying.
Yeah, definitely. In our own way, we both do it. So yeah, that was our gaming club on Monday night, and we did again. We did manage to technically finish the full 5-turn game with a delayed start in the 3 hours and all the head scratching and rules queries. We still got a resolution for a full game, so it beats some other systems hands down. Not naming any names. Okay. Sorry.
Don't be salty about it.
Salty?
They can't help it. You haven't got a salt shaker when you're salty. It's only when I'm salty.
Well, we'll share it.
What, pass it around?
Yeah.
Isn't that bad luck?
No. It's bad luck if you throw it over your right shoulders. I don't know. To be fair,
right.
I'm often throwing it all over the fucking table, let alone over my shoulder.
Is it news o'clock?
It is, but like I said, I don't really have any. Do you have any?
I don't really have any either. Sorry that the news is not more prominent in our weekly interactions, but I've not been near the internet.
Yeah, David hasn't been shopping for shit, and I honestly can't remember anything that I've seen on YouTube that was of substance or isn't just me reiterating the following channels are great. Please watch them. The Painting Phase have released another couple of videos that were quite cool. They did an interview with Trish Carden, who's an old Games Workshop models designer.
Yeah, I did see that one. I haven't watched it.
Very good. The one with Gary Morley I watched as well. I did. They 2-0. Thank you, Jerry. Jerry's giving us news when there is none. Pledge manager? What are we... Orinoco, what are you doing? Step away
Stay away from the internet.
What are
Actually,
they talking about?
I'll tell you something else that I don't know if you've seen it since I sent you the link. Acid House Cyberpunk Kickstarter.
Oh, no, I haven't.
That's live.
It's live, is it? Are you going to be... in fact...
No, I'm not.
Oh, I'm gonna have to do this. I apologise if we have any audio glitches, people. I shall be playing in my web browser. Ugh.
Are you about to go spend money?
No, I'm not, but I will have a look. I'll be honest, I don't know as I want a
Cyberpunk
terrain set. What am I gonna do with it?
Infinity?
Oh, I can't even see
Infinity?
the link. Where was it in Messenger?
Yeah, Facebook, ages ago. Just search for it on the Tinterweb. You'll get there quicker.
Okay.
And try to find it. You know what you're looking for, old man.
Clickety, 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 clickety. So it's Acid House, Cyberpunk. Go. Pardon me. Okay, so as with, you see, this is now the thing that we do on the internet. Yet again, they are the good thing about this, people, is that it is allowing you to get back into some of the stuff that you've missed. So here we go. This is the Kickstarter. So I did actually back the sci-fi terrain. Welcome to the sprawl. Oh, okay. So it's essentially the same. Oh, it is quite attractive, though.
It is pretty.
Hell's teeth. These textures are nice. So basically, they've just retextured. Oh, this cardboard sort of swirl thing looks quite cool. I suppose these are sort of like to represent LED and neon banners.
Yeah.
That's a cool... Oh, mate.
They might just talk you into spending some money.
I am impressed as fuck with those textures on that. Impressed as hell. Oh, look, and they've got bar signs. Looks like they've had some really nice detail pieces.
Yeah, there's some barricades and bits and pieces as well.
I like this. Ooh,
of course you like it.
I might have a look. How much is the pledge?
Similar price to what you paid last time.
So the 25% basic kit. You see, what might be good is, because I've already got one, I did the double pledge last time. I might be able to get away with doing a half. Exactly. Just do a half pledge. And
smatter it in.
And sort of mix it. So you're basically only talking €58.
Yeah. I'm on stream. Oh. Oh, dessert.
This looks very nice, people. Well, here you go. Here's a piece of news. Go and have a look at this. Now, I am going to say they either need to stop doing these tiles or make them good. Because mine are warped and shit. And I couldn't flatten them out. And they don't work particularly well. They don't lock together particularly well because they don't lay flat. So don't bother with them. Just take the cardboard terrain, put it on a decent 4x4 gaming mat that you bought from Deep Cut Studio, or insert favourite gaming mat manufacturer here.
Or get your ass across to Unit 9 Patreon or the Unit 9 My Mini Factory, and then buy one of their map textures and get it printed so you have a custom mat.
Yes, because
that is also cyberpunky.
I was going to say, Deep Cut will do any non-copyrighted image as a matte texture. You can put anything you fucking like on a mat. And it's honestly, their custom service isn't that much more expensive than their basic stuff.
And you can double-side them.
Yep. You can have double-sided mats for improved storage. I can't recommend Deep Cut highly enough. Excellent customer service, fantastic product, great options. The website is a little bit fiddly, particularly if you're doing the custom options where you got to choose your back and front textures. You've got to rescale
and where
them.
the sizes, yeah.
Yeah. But if you can handle the front end, the actual end product, I think it's not cheap, don't get me wrong. These guys they're not the entry level. You can get cheaper gaming mats if you want to look hard enough, but for the service and the quality, Deep Cut is my go-to, I'm afraid. I have to say, David, you are an evil son of a bitch. I may have to back this.
Look at me separating you from your hard-earned cash again.
Is it just me, people, or does this look fantastic? I can't believe how good they look. And I tell you what, they've really upped the scatter piece game as well. They've really upped that compared to the previous one. I mean, I think the major pieces are all engineered exactly the same looking at it. But just the scattery bits. That is nice.
We love a good game of scatter because, again, we added some scatter to Carnivale, didn't we?
Yeah. Great plastic scatter, but it was scatter. Hello, Paul. Welcome to the show.
I just fucked
North
up.
Star have the Scary Woods tree set back in stock. Okay, Darren.
Colour Paul intrigued. Off he goes to the internet again.
Well, we were talking about trees for you because you haven't got I've got quite a good gaming tree collection. So
I have loads of trees now. I have 28 of the fuckers to build. It's just you, Cheese Me's not impressed compared to Maladam stuff.
Really? Admittedly, I think the engineering and the interesting shape options are better on Maladam, but I'm not sure the textures are better, if I'm honest. I do agree that the stuff's less boxy and more varied in the way you put it together, but, you know...
In for a penny, in for a pound. Beautiful textures, but a little bit square and blocky.
Beg to differ on the textures, I think.
Well, you will soon find out, won't you, when your Maladam Kickstarter arrives?
Yeah. I don't know when that's due to ship. I think it's not for a while, though. Is it October,
not till next
November?
Year. No. Remember, yours is 2024, because mine's just in time for Christmas, and yours is just after mine.
Yeah. What's he put here? North Star Scary Woods. We're off, Darren. We're off down a rabbit hole, mate.
Paul is apparently a greyhound tonight. Dungeon and laser stuff is nice, but does it need some work?
Yeah, we looked at that at
UKGE.
UKGE, yeah.
Like, we genuinely thought about buying some scatter, and then we had, like, this is gonna be some work.
Okay.
How is the airbrushing for everyone at home, by the way? Are you deafened?
It's definitely
or are you
audible,
okay
mate, but it's not. I'm not overly irritated. The audience may differ, though. Okay, so basically, what are these? Soft PVC, you've got a couple of trees, a mushroom stand, and a tree stump. They're okay. 15 quid is very reasonable for a couple of trees, I think. Obviously, they're just bare, but you could always add foliage. I guess they're fine. I'm not super impressed, but
not blown away.
Thank you for the tip.
Oh, I have some other news, not that you can see a picture of it. For those that are into Armada and have the Mantic Companion, we now have cards that work and function.
We now have what?
The cards. You know the cards that come in the Mantic box for Armada?
Oh, yes.
It's not been a thing for a while to have the cards print out for you, and I'm like, they're missing a trick. Turns out, Mantic listen.
Okay, so now when you go on to your Mantic Companion subscription, you can print the cards.
Yep, and we now get to see Abyssal Dwarves, the what's it called? The Aqua League wankers. I know what. Trident Realms. There we go.
Yeah, Trident Realms.
Words escape me. And Seas of Dread has now just been added to the app as well, because in for a penny, in for a pound, Mantic will give you all of the shinies. Book's barely been out 5 minutes. Oh, we'll just give you that in the companion app.
I'm going to close this. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, people. I'm going to prepare our our slides for.
We're not university tutors, Paul. Just saying.
No, but I've gone to the trouble of making them. I should perhaps use them. Come on, where are you? Da 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 da. Right.
How's your building going? Is it going all right?
What, my extract all? What, my Carnivale?
Well, what are you building right now?
I'm building these obsidian only, aren't I? And it's going fine. Here we go. So let's select all of those and we'll go slideshow. Bing. There we go. We're set up and we've got 10 minutes. So, right.
Has anybody got anything else they would like to talk about? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Okay, so they are slightly cheaper on North Star, 12 quid. Did you... I mean, they are what they are, Darren. Although, good trees are hard to get. I mean, it's not difficult to get cheap trees, but getting really good trees isn't that easy. Yes, Trevor, just for everybody, Trevor finished his first hobby project. Well, he says finished. I'm just gonna be that guy, Trevor. They're not based. So,
no, he was basing them at Club on Monday while we were playing games. Yes, he was.
Oh my God. I take it all back. They are done. Done.
Look at you, you heathen, calling somebody out on the internet forevermore, and actually they have done their job.
Oh, that's true, because you just did them like board game pieces, didn't you, Trevor? Because, I mean, they are Blood Bowl minis, let you off. You just painted the bases, did you? Flat paint? Yeah, that's the thing. I'll be honest. Do you know what? All credit. Do you know what? As somebody who's been doing this hobby for literally decades, there is something special about watching somebody who's entered into this madness that is miniature painting and just got their first project done. For me, there's just something special about that. Tim's doing squats. No. Tim, you realise this is only a 2-hour stream. How long are you going to keep... Jerry, are you watching 3 games of football simultaneously?
He said he was.
What the fuck, man? We thought playing fucking Carnivale gave us a migraine. Welcome to fucking Jerry's house. It looks like the fucking control room at Wembley Stadium. Fucking TVs on every wall, showing different matches.
No, it's a Weatherspoons pub.
Actually, yeah, that makes more sense. Certainly for Jerry. So yeah, I don't know what you guys think. It's there's just, you know, when you're a hobby veteran, yeah, it's cool to get a project done, but there's nothing quite like somebody getting their first one done. It's the
Popping
start
that
of it all.
cherry.
What was the first thing you ever painted, or any first thing you called a project?
Hang on. What are we quantifying as fully finished? Because technically, my salamanders that were my very first 40k army are still unfinished.
Well, that's for you to decide, really. I mean,
first thing I fully based, painted, fully finished, fully happy with, Underworlds. Which is relatively recent.
Jesus, that's a bit of an indictment. To be fair, though, I'm guessing that's probably not that uncommon. What do you? I don't know if you guys are the same. You have a lot of half-finished projects or things that never made it to the end.
Is it bad I wanted to reference Linkin Park then and say in the end it didn't even matter? That joke's for days.
The chat has lost me.
Where's the chat wandered off to?
I don't know. They're talking about Brexit. Blood Bowl games. Dan's offering Trevor a celebratory game. That's an awesome thing to do, Dan. Well done, mate. That's a great one. What about the Tau? Selection of Brother Vinny's BDS.
Oh, what? The Tau that I still can't find.
We're still trying to guess what Tim's... Oh, dear. And Jerry comes in with the not at all obscure reference to some BDSM fucking miniatures. Oh, my God. I don't even know. I don't even know what to say.
Oh, my Jesus. Jerry?
No, gaming... He looks similar, but it's Gaming Gandalf to you.
Why is it Gaming Gandalf to me and not to you?
No, it's Gaming Gandalf to everybody. It's just you called him Jesus. And meeting Jerry is a near religious experience. But...
We're going on a pilgrimage to Northern Ireland. It's a bit fucking warm in my room.
I'll be honest, it's a bit fucking warm here.
What happened to the weather? Because it was wet and cold and shitty the other day.
It wants to make its fucking mind up what it is doing. Still, this is very British. Welcome to the British live stream, where the first thing we do is talk about the fucking weather.
Hang on, it's not the first thing we've done today.
That's true.
Put the fan on 3.
Right, it's a little bit early.
That's better.
So should we go to our main topic?
Yeah, I'm going to take one of my gloves off because my hands are literally soaked. Yeah, lovely.
Nice. Come on. Slideshow, pause. Next. Right. Salty yellow. Oh my God, I'm glad I read the chat in reverse there. I saw Jerry's salty yellow water, then read back up to turn wine into water. And I gagged far less than if I'd read it the other way round. Genius.
Saved by reading chat in reverse.
Look at this. Fucking Tim, put everybody out of their misery. Oh, my God.
Right. Tim,
are you repainting all of your X-Wing?
4 minutes. 4 minutes for everyone to have their guesses. And then we will... Frostgrave minis. 3D prints.
Is it skeletons and zombies from one of those weird undead Kickstarters you backed? Oh, fucking hell. He did say, to be fair, he did say we would never guess.
He's German. He lives on misery.
I don't fucking know.
Caricatures of me and Paul. We're going for the really weird and out there suggestions now.
I'm trying to think. I don't know. I've never really seen you talk about anything
Right.
other than Star Wars games.
Hang on.
More time? Are you doing something for more time? No, the Barbie minis are not for his kids, Darren. Don't believe him. So it's not more time. Do you play Volsung?
I don't know what to suggest. What has this stream been hijacked? We're now prisoners, and we can't end streaming until we find out what Tim's been.
Us.
We're being held against our will.
We are entrapped within a mystery of Tim's creation. Historicals. What historicals would Tim do?
Pike and shot.
I don't know. That's not Tim's style. Hang on. Silver Bayonet? Oh, Baron's War's a good shout. I can see Tim doing that.
Fucking hell, Crispin. Jesus.
What's this? Not like, is it...
We've just been cancelled. We've just been cancelled.
That's it. Goodbye, everybody.
That's the stream demonetised.
Trench offensive. That's a good shout, Paul. It's a shameless plug, but it's good a shout.
Bolt action.
No, I can't see Tim doing World War II.
I mean,
and I can't see him doing big games. I'm sure Tim has gone on record as saying he prefers smaller scale games. I know he plays Legion, but I think that's the exception, not the rule. And Tim can... Oh, right, okay, everybody, hang on. Let me scroll back to when he said we're getting warmer. Oh, my God. Can you search chat?
No, because this is YouTube.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
GW was warmer. He isn't painting some 8th edition fantasy, is he?
Fucking hell. Oh dear. To be fair, it's everybody on the Isle of Rhodes, Jerry, not just the firefighters. If it was the firefighters, there wouldn't be a fucking problem. It's just that it's cooking every bastard.
And yet Jet2.com decides to still fly passengers into the airport while the entire island's on fire.
Oh, Jerry's probably nailed it. War cry. Yeah, because you did win a war cry box, didn't he? That's 2 pilots. Jerry,
Cheese
mate,
me's begging for it to end.
do you not have any fucking restraint? Jesus.
Old school Space Marines. Ah! So when I said 40k earlier...
Yeah, but he couldn't
Right.
hear you over your airbrush. He did say.
Right back at the beginning of chat...
Yeah, but he did say he couldn't hear you over your airbrush.
The Warcry box you gave away, so why are you painting it?
Yeah, he's saying...
Oh, he can't be painting it
No,
because
he's
giving
saying
it away.
I can't be painting that because I gave it away, which is correct. I believe he did do some sort of charity competition thing on his stream. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tim. So you're doing some old... What's the point?
They're dead!
You're wasting your time, Tim. Here, look, mate, look. They're going here now. If it's old marine stuff, it goes in here.
We're not salty at all.
I've already got my Raven Guard army in here, look. Land Speeder Storms, Scouts.
What that? Right. Let's get to the main topic because
Yeah.
I've got a feeling I'm going to get very salty in a second.
I'll get primed. Right. So
what started
let's have
this
a warning.
topic?
Warning,
What
everybody.
Two salty bastards ahead.
Yeah.
So what started this topic was tell a lie, I have been near the internet. I went near YouTube earlier this week because I sent a link to Paul and was bitching about it, and hence why the start of stream happened. So I saw a video from a little YouTube short about a guy that's just gone out to buy a load of scouts for his new army that he's putting together for Space Marines for 10th edition because the rules look nice and he wants to collect some of these minis. And not but 5 minutes after he's bought 3 boxes of them and painted them, GW decided that no, they're going to the Legends slot now, so off with the nice things, and you shall not be playing with your scouts, kind sir.
Yeah, I mean, the video, I mentioned it earlier. I'll bring it up now. For everybody at home, there's a guy on the internet called Mordian Glory, I believe. And he did a video. It is a bit clickbaity. It's like that's it, I'm fucking done with Games Workshop, blah, blah, blah. He isn't done with Games Workshop. He's going to keep making 40k content. He's going to keep playing 40k. All he says is, even as somebody who just did a bit of Space Marines on the side, because his main thing is Guard, basically when GW dropped the news, they basically wiped out about $1,000's worth of his collection, stuff that he'll never be able to play competitively. Nobody's ever going to want to see it on a table. He's basically fucked it. And he's saying now what he's going to do, even though he's a content creator, is he's just going to 3D print proxies. And he's just going to go to companies that make proxies for all the 40k models. And he's going to keep filming 40k bat reps and painting and collecting 40k armies, but with proxies. And I can't really fault the bloke, to be honest. So yes, Games Workshop have basically, for everybody who doesn't know, for everybody who didn't know why the internet was on fire this week, Games Workshop have announced that they are moving a ton of Space Marine units to the Legends slot, so they're no longer going to be doing rule update. They definitely won't be appearing in the next codex. They've done this immediately after generating rules for them in 10th edition, so they've basically ambushed people who might have gone out and bought them, that now they're going to be fucking wasting their time. And obviously, when the kits are no longer in stock, they're going to disappear. They're going to be gone. And because it's Games Workshop, there's no way that they're going to fire sale them. You see, when other companies have done this, that you'll see their kits go down to like 25%, fucking reduced to clear. You know, they'll give them away because obviously selling them at full price is taking the piss. I'm calling it now. If there's any of this stuff that isn't out of stock already, you're not going to see it discounted. It'll clear through at full price. And that is just a joke. But so we've set the scene. Games Workshop did it again. And we were talking and thinking, and actually, I have a bit of an issue with the internet losing its mind, if I'm honest. I'm going to be devil's advocate here. I'm going to leap to GW's defence.
Fuck me! Where's the salt shaker? Because you've never said that in the entirety of your YouTube career so far.
I don't understand what these people, what fucking planet they are on. It occurs to me, our hobby of wargaming, which is a little subset of the tabletop gaming genre, constant change is something that we face all of the time in wargaming. And I do accept that there is differences by degree. But I think it's fair to say things are always changing for wargamers.
This is true. Don't know where I bought the water from. It's annoyed me now.
So, with that said, what is it that can change? Okay, so rules change. Okay, games receive new editions. They have overhauls of their rule set, and even like the core framework of the game can change quite dramatically. War Machine Mark IV has just come out. Significant changes to turn structure and rules execution from Mark III to 4, and warband building, and 1,000 other things. Even if we don't have whole new editions, errata, rules updates, they're not unheard of in wargaming. I mean, can anybody name me a company that doesn't do it? Warlord do it with Bolt Action. Mantic do it with their products.
I've got one for you, and it's a game you quite like.
Go on then.
Burrows and Badgers!
That's true. Somebody correct me in the comments, because we're probably completely wrong, but I don't know as they've ever FAQ'd anything in Burrows and Badgers. I know there have been supplementary campaigns, but I don't think they've ever released or updated the rulebook, and I don't think they've ever changed anything major. So that is an example. I'll let you have that. But I think it's fair to say that's the exception, not the rule.
Yes.
So other things that can change, models, okay? Obviously, in this case, Games Workshop have said, you see these models? No, they're fucking gone. Forever. Wave and bye-bye. But similarly, you can have resculpts.
Dante, that we spoke about recently.
Sorry?
Dante.
Oh, the multi-award-winning Moonstone. Good shout, cheese me. Yes, we mentioned the resculpt of Dante on.
Actually, that's
stream.
the point, right? Dante's just had a resculpt.
See,
where does
Jerry,
he sit in all
thank
this?
you. See, Jerry keeps us straight. There is a 3-page FAQ for B&B. Good man. See, look, we sit here, we talk fucking rubbish, and then Gandalf rides in on Shadowfax and puts it all straight. Yeah. I'm not arguing that, cheese me. You make a valid point, and we will come to it. So, models get redesigned. A lot of the Tyrannid models have been redesigned. The problem is it's not necessarily just redesigning. They can get rescaled. They can have basing changes that affect your old collection. Warhammer Old World, anybody? Anybody here gonna take their 200-man fancy battle army and rebase it? No, they can fuck off. Not doing it. And not necessarily rules changes, but game formats can change. What was that one that you said earlier, mate? The new version of Firefight, wasn't it?
Yeah, the one that's got all the vehicles.
Yeah, so Firefight now has Annihilation mode. If you take games like Infinity and Malifaux, Malifaux has the Gaining Grounds document, which is released, I think, annually or every 2 years. And
yeah,
basically
then you've got
what
the
it
ITS pack for Infinity, haven't
yeah,
you, as well?
Infinity has its ITS. Yeah, well said, Jerry's fucking, yeah, like me, nervous tick. Rebase my ass. No, FAQs are more clarifications than anything, Jerry. You're right. They're probably not a strong example of change, but we face.
But I would hasten to add FAQs depends upon the company releasing the FAQ.
Yeah, a lot of. I mean, again, I said about 10 minutes ago, all of the changes that we can see here on the screen, we all know game companies that lie on a spectrum. So, like, we've already mentioned it, Games Workshop and 40k. I'm not being hyperbolic. Everything changes in 40k every 10 fucking minutes.
They're like London buses. You'll have a change, then you'll have a correction for the change, the replacement correction.
And then, before you've even got a chance to play that, you'll have a new fucking campaign book. And then you'll have a new set of model releases. And then you'll have some fucking points changes and FAQs and fucking blah. And it goes on. Now, let's swing back. Warlord Games Bolt Action. Bolt Action is currently on its 2nd edition. Jerry, tell me how many years Bolt Action's been on the market? Because you will know the answer to this. There's no point even Googling it, because you'll already know. Bolt Action. Warhammer's on 10 editions. Bolt Action's on its 2nd edition. It does have...
Flames? Anyone? 4 editions,
Flames
is
third?
relatively stable? No, 4. V4 now.
4 now. So, I've only seen one new edition of Bolt Action since I started doing the hobby seriously. What, 20 fucking 17? No, 15 maybe. So, and yes, there have been some erratas to the books that have been printed for Bolt Action. I don't know what's the current Bolt Action errata document. 8 pages, something like that, for every book they've ever printed. It's not bad, really. I don't think. Yeah, 4th. Yeah. So you've definitely got a spectrum. But my point is, this happens, okay? It's like, what the fuck were you people expecting?
Not Bolt Action. Blood Bowl? We're on, what, V3 of Blood Bowl now?
Oh, no, more than that, mate. Blood Bowl... I suppose it's the 4th. Is this the 4th or 5th iteration of Blood Bowl? Admittedly, the first 2 or 3 probably had tiny changes. But Blood Bowl's been through a fair few. Frostgrave is only on its 2nd edition, and to be fair... the fucking changes between the two were tiny. A few spells changed. Some changes to warband composition.
How you built your faction changed massively, but it doesn't matter.
Well, like I say, warband composition, yeah, but it affected everybody equally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Take that back, Dan, because the latest change with passing not being linked to agility now is quite a big change.
yeah, I would say that the most recent change to Blood Bowl was probably one of the most impactful since the change from first to second, when they dumped the whole Warhammer profile and got rid of, you know, half the bloody stats. Yeah, crit rules changed for Frostgrave, but again, they're small things.
And crits are an optional thing with the game anyway, so
Yeah,
can't really be counted.
that is the big problem. That is a big problem, RNOK. When games change editions before you even have a chance to get into the game.
Hence why I got pissed off with GW, because I didn't get to play 9th edition. I played 8th, 9th dropped, and then didn't play it.
Yeah, but to be fair, you're being a bit disingenuous, because the opportunity was there for you to play 9th. You chose not to play it because it was dog shit.
Same difference. Same difference.
What do you mean by that, Chris? You bought it? Oh, I see. Because it was, you knew it wouldn't change. I'll be brutally honest, it will come to that. Now, so yes, all of this shit can change. Jerry, you've nailed it, mate. You've absolutely nailed it. You've absolutely nailed it. Why do companies change all this shit all the time? Okay, there are a number of reasons. Let's be generous. The most altruistic one probably is gameplay. They actually want to make the game better. So they want
you
to
put massive air quotations around that better.
I mean, I'll be honest. I think this one is the one that is most abused by certain people in the industry, when actually what they mean is the next one. But they want to balance the game. They want to iron out little wrinkles. They want to make things run a little bit smoother. And do you know what? There are some. I'm looking at Mantic's Dungeon Saga. When I played League of Infamy, I immediately said to David, I wonder if they'll put a lot of this stuff changes into the new edition of Dungeon Saga, because it is just better. A lot of it
Terrain
runs smoother.
setup's easier.
It's got some nice design touches that actually just work and are genuine improvements on what went before.
Yes.
The other reason, and this is the one that is basically lighting up the internet now, and this is what Games Workshop, I think, are guilty of the most, is for profit. If they change everything all the time, you have to buy new shit, rule books, army books, you know, they
compendiums,
will take,
indexes in 8th is a prime example.
If they made half of your marine army no longer legal for competitive play, you need to now collect and paint another 1,000 points of marines. Well, there you go. That's money in the till. And again, in terms of the profitability argument, I think somebody mentioned it in chat earlier. Genuinely, a company might, let's say a game is on the market for 10 years. I mean, let's take Malifaux as an example, right? Malifaux have retired some miniatures. They've moved them to their sort of, I think they call it legendary as well. And what these are character models that were either a bit broken or a bit shit. They got killed in the narrative. So it would sort of like, it doesn't follow their narrative vision of the game to see these models played. Credit to them. Pardon me. There are rules. You can still play them with your opponent's agreement. You know, are we going to allow these legendary models or whatever? Are we going to do that? So they haven't closed the door. But And they've done it, I don't know how many, they've done it to, what, half a dozen models over the lifetime of the game.
It's not bad odds.
So again, you can do this sort of thing by degree. Also, say for example, you've had your game on the market for 30 years, Games Workshop. There might come a point, because you have to keep releasing new shit to keep people interested, to keep all of your model designers and that in work. You've suddenly got far more SKUs than you can viably manufacture or stock. Do you know what I mean? And if you've got a model that only sells 6 a month, and you're a multi-million-pound business, you're gonna fucking axe it, aren't you? It's gonna be like, nobody's buying it. It's got to go. I don't think you can argue with that. You can't say that these companies should basically do unprofitable things. That doesn't make any sense. That's a ridiculous thing to force them to do.
But
the problem is, Cheese Me, there is an element of keeping releasing new things. They have a design studio, they have sculptors, they have designers. They want to pay these people wages. Unless they make them redundant or cut down how many they've got, they have to find them work. And I'm afraid that means a fire hose of fucking releases. I mean, yes, you could say, well, here's an idea. Don't be a greedy fucker. Don't list yourself on the stock market, and don't overinflate your company to the point where it becomes a fucking machine that serves its own ends. Keep it a small family business. Stop being so greedy and fucking ambitious, and just, foster a faithful and loyal customer base. But that's the wonders of hindsight, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, the other... Yeah, don't get into that, Cheese Me. That's a different discussion. The fucking anonymity. The other thing that might provoke a change that isn't really, I don't think, a bad thing is the engagement excuse. Like with Gaining Grounds, ITS, they just want to refresh the tournament meta, give you new lists, because competitive players have solved this. They want to give these people something new, just to liven it up.
But again, in that regard, the ITS packages, etc., are slightly nicer because it's not minis and shit you need to go out and buy, and all the objectives, etc., are the same, and it's all released for free.
Again, it's there. In the context of change, there's a huge spectrum, isn't there, mate? An ITS pack is a free PDF that you download. Next time you play, you've got a different set of missions and maybe some different global rules. So like everybody gets to bring a motorbike outrider, mercenary or something. Whereas you've got, we're doing a whole new edition, and unfortunately, you can't play half of your casters in Mark IV yet because we haven't written any rules. So we've got a whole new edition, but you can only play half of our models, and good fucking luck with that. No. Sorry. No. That's not fair. And it's not very consumer friendly.
However, how Privateer Press have done this is they are coming eventually.
Yeah.
Maybe. But they are coming. Versus the GW approach of, here you go, you've got all your new rules for your new edition, what are you complaining about? Oh, you've gone out and bought a load? Good. You've made our tills ring. By the way, they're banned from whenever it is.
Yeah, and again, let's not get hyperbolic. What GW is saying is these old miniatures are no longer legal for competitive play. You can play them at home. Nobody cares. If you and your brother or you and your mate still have 2 fucking scout armies and want to play with them, you do that. But I can tell you this. That's fine, but 5 years or a year from now, these models will have not had any rules update. They won't have had any pool points updates. They'll be massively underpowered. Nobody will fucking want to play them at that point. Do you know what I mean?
Well, again, here's a good example. Your Raven Guard army going into 9th edition and it becomes basically completely illegal.
Yeah, because they changed scouts to an elite.
They're now elite.
Slot. What the fuck? Again, the problem with Games Workshop is Games Workshop just make a series of catastrophic decisions one after another, and because they paint themselves into a corner, because they've got a bloated game, far too many fucking products, far too many miniature lines. For everybody who hasn't seen it, for God's sake, go and watch the painting phase episode with, I can't remember the guy's name, but he's one of the production or hobby design managers for GW, and he basically explains the GW sales philosophy of the funnel. GW want to sell to new gamers for probably the first 12 to 24 months of their wargaming career. After that point, they are fucking done with you. They don't want you. They don't care about you. If you want to spend your money, they'll take it, but they will not design products for you. They will not fucking manage their release schedule with you in mind. They do not care. And this is the truth. And they don't want to hide it. They don't mind. And
yeah.
This is why I think everybody... It's a fantastic recruitment tool to a point. I have my issues with that because I think the problem is that even that's backfiring because people are entering the fucking grind machine that is Games Workshop, and they're getting a bad impression of what this hobby is. They think it's some sort of fucking mouse wheel where you've got to just throw money at it and then you walk away after 24 months with nothing. Yeah, that's the one, Darren.
However, taking decisions for narrative purposes, such as Malifaux referenced already, and I know we've just knocked GW, but one that always grinds my gears is Steamforged. Because they had a game that was becoming unmanageable. Namely...
Guild Ball.
Guild Ball. And they turned around and basically pinned the entire blame on the consumer base and the competitive scene and went, this is all your fault. You're not having anything anymore.
Yeah.
Which, again, hasn't really backfired for Steamforged because they seem to have gone in a more board gamey direction with their latest developments. But for fuck's sake, don't blame your consumers for what's happening.
I'll be honest with you, mate. That is the only part of that I do agree with you. To actually blame competitive players for the situation they found themselves in, where it was too much work for too little return, and the game had become the sort of like the whole culture around the game had become a bit toxic and over competitive. To blame your customers is not correct. That's not the right way to look at things. No shame at all in doing what you did. No shame at all in saying, do you know what? For the amount of work we're having to put into this game in terms of studio time, design time, social media
it's becoming
support,
unprofitable. It's unmanageable.
Just not fucking worth our time. We want to do more board gamey one-off releases. Absolutely no shame, but do not blame your customer. It's not their fault. Yeah. Perhaps if you hadn't have fucking tried quite so hard to say, Guild Ball, this is a super competitive game, Maybe if you had taken your foot off the gas and said, look, everybody, just fucking relax. If that seems a bit broken, house rule it. If you're going to play with somebody who's going to abuse the rules, pick a different opponent. I've got a story to tell you. I don't know. Are you a member of the Frostgrave Facebook group?
Yes, I saw your fucking comment earlier and I fucking creased.
We'll cover that story in a bit, but if anybody is not a member of the Frostgrave Facebook group, I saw something, I think it was today or yesterday, probably.
It was today, and I genuinely didn't think I would ever see it in a Frostgrave group. You drew my attention to it because you commented on it.
But do you know what was
me?
The best thing was the way that the community in general reacted to it. Because if you'd have seen that post in any Games Workshop Facebook group, honestly, the conversation thread underneath it would have been way different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing to do. I think Orinoco, from what I know about the Guild Ball debacle, is it literally the issue for Guild Ball and Steamforged in general was they marketed it, or they traded on its competitiveness.
It's a super balanced, super competitive game.
And the
it's better than Blood Bowl.
Competitive community around Guild Ball kept breaking it. They kept solving it. And this affected their sales, because then half of their shit wasn't being used, it wasn't being sold. And the design team just kept trying to plug gaps to fix it. And the sort of competitive scene, not naming any individual, but the whole thing around it was so aggressive, they were just... it was too much resources for the return for the firm. Is my top-down TLDR take on it. Fucking Crispin, oh my god. But
Jesus, Crispin, we don't need to know about your sex life on stream.
It's only a 2-hour stream, to Crispin. We haven't got time for your sex life, mate. Right, we've already talked. You guys in the chat.
Actually, I want to chip in here.
Go on, mate. Go
because
for it.
we've sounded a bit negative, Nancy, and we sounded a bit of, oh, we don't like change. It's not a good thing.
Well, that's my last slide.
Oh, okay. 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 Okay.
Do you want to do that one first?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Because we've had a bit of a salty kicking session. Let's lighten the mood a little bit.
Okay, let's just go into it. So, David's right. So, my argument is these changes are always happening to some degree and in all sorts of ways. So, you start, mate. Why are these changes good?
So, by balancing and readdressing the meta, and if you're in a non-super competitive scene and you're just bringing your collection, or you're making an occasional purchase through the year and you're not necessarily purchasing for the most broken meta list you can build, you're just purchasing for what you think are cool models, it boosts the stats on them good models to actually make them playable again. So this is something TT have been very conscious and very vocal about with Drop Zone. Of every time you build a list on their web builder, they collect data on it. Whether
Corvus do exactly the same on Infinity Army.
What you've got, what you've taken, and how prominently it is featuring in the meta.
Yeah.
If something is undercosted for the rules it's got, guess what? TT have said after 6 months the points on that are going up, and to make you diversify your collection or have a different piece of the puzzle to solve. Same way, if something is overcosted and bullshit and nobody's taking it, they're either going to give it some new rules to make it play better, or they're going to reduce the costs on it and make it cheap as chips.
Would you say is so basically what you're saying is sometimes the gameplay argument is entirely valid
Yes.
as a justification for change.
Yes.
What
That
about
is.
the other ones? So what about the engagement argument for you?
Look at it this way. Frostgrave has a billion different scenarios
I agree,
in
Cheeseman.
several different expansions and releases and everything else. Have we played every single one of them? Have we fuck? Will we play every single one of them? Have we fuck? Will we carry on and buy the new release when it comes out next time? Yes, we will, because we're hooked on it. And that particular game and that particular rule set. It's not a bad thing to encourage people to purchase or to download some rules packs to, again, change up the state of the games. And, oh, you're a bit bored of your scenarios, here's some more ones. Do you know what I mean? Armada, similarly, 30 scenarios in all of the Armada releases so far. We will eventually get through them all, but there'll probably be about another 20 coming with Mantic's release schedule, and we probably will buy those books as well.
I agree with you. The thing is, both the first example is contingent. Well, both of these are contingent on the individual. If you are the kind of player who just enjoys the game, and even if you play, you and your mate play 6 games of fucking Malifaux with the same crews because they're the only models you own, and you find you win all 6 and your mate loses all 6, okay? Here's an idea. If you're an experienced set of gamers, why don't you drop a model, give them a few soul stones extra? Do you know what I mean? They're the only models you've got. He's the only person you play with. You can sort this out. You don't need the company to do it for you. Now, if you're a bit less experienced and you are a little bit prickly about unbalanced and wonky games, yeah, gameplay improvements are going to tick a box for you. Totally cool. Again, engagement. It's not really going to be for me and David. I personally don't give a shit about the new ITS and the new Gaining Grounds because I play so little Infinity and so little Malifaux. I probably have only played 2 games out of a fucking Gaining Grounds before they change it again. Or an ITS if they change it again. It's like, I don't play enough of your game. I play too many games, probably. But if David and I only played Infinity, we'd love it.
Well, again, here's another nice thing on engagement, and without changing too much, the global campaigns. We're just starting out one now with Carnivale.
Yeah.
What's it called? The Infinity Global Campaign, the Duragaman Takeover that was last year. That was some fun as well. That promotes engagement without having to promote extra material or purchases.
Yeah. You and I will dip our toes into those sort of things, but we're not massively invested, are we, mate? Because, like I said, we play too many games. You know, I'm going to call it now. You and I are not going to play every single one of the Carnivale campaign. I can't see us doing it because we won't find the time in our schedule to do it. Don't get me wrong, it would be fantastic if we did, and if we used the excuse to paint up a few more of our unpainted grey models and expand our collections in terms of painted minis, that would be fucking awesome. Do I necessarily think that that's a given? No. Given the eclectic taste we have in gaming and the amount of stuff we want to cram in what tiny time we have available, I don't think it's going to happen, if I'm brutally honest.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you on that, mate. I mean, again, I'm absolutely bossing out this Flames of War at the moment because A, paint and comp this month, and B, I've got till September to do it, and I've got the rest of a 6x4 table to sort out.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be playing Flames of War every single week and need different scenarios and bits and pieces for that. I'm just going to dip my toe occasionally.
Yep.
We've discussed this before on the channel. I'm a gadfly.
Yep. we're both the same.
And
But
here's the thing, right? If there is some nice new hotness, say new scenarios for Frostgrave or a global campaign for Infinity, it actually, again, similar to this Carnivale one, promotes us to want to play it. Because, again, we should have been playing War Machine this week. That's what we were playing.
Yeah.
But because of issues with War Machine and their updates, guess what we played instead? Some campaign for Carnivale.
Because, again, I think it was Cheese Me said about... I could have said, oh, well, I'll need to play Mark IV, but I don't have any casters currently that have been transitioned and have full rules, so I need to expand my collection to... No, I'm just like, oh, I can't play with what I've got. Fuck it, I'll play a different game. You know, because I'm not going to be pushed down that road. I'll go down that road out of my own genuine excitement and want, but I'm not going to be pushed down that fucking road. I love Cheese Me's comment here. If Faction X wins all the time against Faction Y, swap armies. See if you can win with the better faction. You know, if you beat your mate all the time, take his army.
That's a good point, because we've actually done a bit of that with the Kings of War and those experiments that we've been doing. We've played, like, you've played one way, then I've played the other way, haven't we? And then we've got a bit of experience of both.
And again, to be fair, it's not really come up. But if you and I were in that situation, that's exactly what we would do, isn't it? Because we know each other. We're quite happy with, well, maybe it's the army's a bit busted. If we swap and you crush me, then we know it's the army, you know, or suspect it is. You know, if you change the army, change the players and get the same outcome, is the player actually having any input in the outcome? Possibly not. And then you've got a problem. But again, we could, even if we were in that situation, we'd solve it. I mean,
the other week is a prime example. I've played a couple of games now with my dwarves in Armada. I know they're a little bit busted and broken. I was playing a three-way game with Luke and Ricky versus me, and I gave myself a 50-point deficit, I want to say.
Yeah. I mean, I've done that all the time, because in good games, player skill plays such a big part. I've been playing war games since I was like 16, like 30 plus years. Okay, I have done a fair bit of gaming. I have a strong grasp of maths. It's my strongest subject, sort of like intellectually. If I know that I'm going to dominate a game against a newer player, I'm perfectly willing to handicap myself. I'll take a 25% points cut. You know, because I'm more interested in having a good game
and a close game
than just, you know, it being a perfect representation of who was the better player. Because if I, again, not being a big-headed twat, if I play a 15-year-old who's never played a war game before, say I'm teaching somebody they're 40k, right? Do I want to dominate and crush them and show them just how fucking good I am after 30 years of experience playing war games? Probably not. Not such a really good idea, is it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, here's my first experience of 40k. I've been ruffle stomped off the table by somebody who's got more years experience than I've been alive.
Again, I totally get what Cheese Me's got some great comments here again. Crispin again. It's all about just having a good time. And Cheese Me said some rules are not always that easy to adjust, and I agree. Like, sometimes you can't... David and I... We do this all the time, mate, don't we? We'll play a game and we'll think, there's something about this game that's not quite right.
Shall we mention Gloomhaven from last week's RNG stream?
Gloomhaven. David and I have had long discussions about what is actually wrong with this game. Because we play it and it doesn't feel good. It feels frustrating. It feels loaded. You know, and Cheese Me's totally right. Some games are so fucking complex.
Beyond repair.
I wouldn't say anything's beyond repair, but actually attempting to solve the puzzle is a big fucking ask. Let's go on to my last slide. I mean, we've discussed most of this already. The chat shouted half these out. Why is constant change problematic? Okay. If you're constantly changing rules, and I think when I've put here what are the problems with this, the problems are all by degree. If you do this too much, it will be problematic. If you do it as part of the natural support of your community, don't even think about supporting the game. Support the community that buys and plays your game. Okay? All of these changes should be motivated from the thought process of supporting the people.
It shouldn't be,
Okay?
What's our motivation here? We want to sell more models. How are we doing that?
Constantly changing rules is just fucking confusing, right? You don't know what rule set you're playing with. You can never remember what a unit does. You take it to the table, it does one thing. 2 months later, you're playing the game and your friend goes, no, actually, that's been changed now. And it doesn't do that anymore. It's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Okay. An egregious sin on my... This next one is the one that I think you, as if you are a games company, you do this at your peril. Replacing or cancelling model ranges that absolutely wipes out financial investment that your players have made. Do that.
It's not just the financial
peril.
investment, it's the time investment as well. If you built and painted and custom converted a Space Marine chapter and now, oh look, all my firstborn are dead.
If we're all on minimum wage, every hour is £10. It's all money. Okay? The one that David mentioned earlier. Just changing shit to sell shit. Okay? Do not... It's like Games Workshop, right? We refresh 40k every 3 years. Why do you refresh 40k every 3 years? Because we know it drives sales, and we've got a cycle where we want to have a new product or a peak product relaunching every year to create a sales spike to feed figures. It's all about financial performance, company's value, and fucking market share. It is nothing to do with, does this game need it? Does the community want it? Fuck all to do with that. Stop doing it. And the other thing, and this is the one that both Jerry, I think Darren, probably Cheese Me, if you go back into the chat, all of these guys called this out. It can fracture a community, i.e. some players do not move on. They do not change with you.
Again, how often was I nagged for a 9th edition game? How often am I being nagged for a 10th edition game? And I'm just not interested.
Yeah. I am, the more I look at Warhammer Old World,
the more you're turned off by it.
The more I start to pore fondly over my Warhammer Fantasy Battles 8th edition. You can stick the Old World up your arse.
It's not recommended, because in sticking the entire world up your arse may be painful.
Well, I still would recommend it to Games Workshop. Here's another one for you. 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons a bag of shit.
Go play some 3.5.
Go play some fucking Beck Me from the 80s. You know,
I will, however, say something, because we did discuss this pre-stream. We haven't really touched on it so far. Wargaming is, as we've said on this channel multiple fucking times, a niche within a niche.
yeah.
The board gaming sector, it's not actually that commonplace that you get
I'm going to change
edition
slides while
changes.
you talk about this, because this is the last slide.
So me and Paul ran through some games that we play regularly that have stuck out to us with having edition changes. Arkham Horror is now on its 3rd edition, and it's so much better for it. Gloomhaven is getting a 2nd edition currently, but we've not seen any plays and tests for that, but they can't make it any worse, we hope. What was the other one you mentioned?
Twilight Imperium is on its 4th edition. That's a massive, sprawling 4X board game, like a war game in a board game.
Yeah.
David and I are not massive board game aficionados. Mansions of Madness is on its 2nd edition, although the change from 1st to 2nd was the implementation of the app. I think that was pretty much the only reason that they did the change. They had, you know, and it was very much geared around to this idea of using technology to replace the need for a GM. But I mean, most of the examples we've listed are Fantasy Flight games. I don't know if that's some weird coincidence, but in board gaming, it is more common that you'll have a board game, you'll have a series of expansions, maybe one a year, one every 2 years. It'll go as long as it goes. When sales
or the fire
decline,
hose that is Arkham
they'll
Horror
just
LCG.
stop. Yeah. Role-playing games are more like war games. Role-playing games undergo iterative reprints and edition changes quite regularly. Again, you say that, Jerry, but I think X-Wing is a good example of what you said earlier about people who didn't move on. I think the opinion seems to be out there on the internet. There is a very large cohort of X-Wing players who said, 2nd edition? Nah, thank you very much. I got all this shit for 1st edition and I quite like it. So I'm just going to stay over here. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. But no, thank you. And as you said, that is because... And anyway, coming back to the point, I don't know. And I don't know, do you have a theory, David? Why is it that board gaming doesn't have this thing where they constantly reiterate and change and improve their game?
I mention the elephant in the room here?
Yeah, go on.
We've spoken about it already. Investment. How invested are you in a board game? You spend your 60 to 120 quid.
Yep.
Because that's the price point most of the games that we're looking at are at.
Yep.
You unbox it, you take it all out of its cellophane, you play a game, you play a couple of scenarios. You've had 4, 5, 6 4-hour sessions playing it. And then a new expansion drops, and it allows you to have another 6 sessions at 4 or 5 hours at a time, where you spend another 20 to 50 quid on the expansion,
Yep.
unwrap it, get a different experience with your gameplay. You have not spent 200 to 500 quid on all of your army and rules, the many hours painting it, building it.
Well, let's just say 100 to 200 hours hobbying, building
Yeah.
a table, painting miniatures.
To then play some games.
Yeah, I think you're
And
right.
one of those units that you've spent,
Yep.
say, 25 hours building, painting, and everything else, and cost you the best part of 50 quid. Yeah?
Yep.
You've played similar amount of games, say 10, 15 games, and suddenly the rules on that unit have changed, and therefore they are no longer viable. Do you see my point here, where I'm going?
Not really. Well, I can see what you're saying, and I think you're right. I think, yeah,
This is why
I
I
do
think
see what
it's
you're
less
saying.
common in the board gaming sector than it is in the
what you're saying
war.
is, like, because the collector has all that sunk cost into those units, models, and that if you don't make the game experience as idealized as possible, or if you don't look to care and be fixing it, that'll piss people off. Whereas if you've got a board game, I mean, Betrayal at the House on the Hill notoriously is a board game where some of the scenarios, if the random events occur in the wrong order, they break, so you can't resolve them. This has been known since the game was printed. They have just done a second edition, but they took fucking years to do it. Because it's like David said, it was a 60, 80 quid board game, and it was still good fun. Occasionally it fell apart, but nobody really cared that much. And it didn't impact sales. I guess this is what you're saying, isn't it, mate? If you don't do it as a war games company, your product will die.
Cheese me, I highly disagree with your statement on board games are one and done. Just going from the list of board games that I have access to, Arkham Horror, we could play the same scenario once a month, every month for a year, and it would be completely different every time.
Mate, you bought that Radlands card game. It's a simple 2-player card game with, 120 cards in a box?
Yeah.
I will be shocked if they don't release expansions for that. Releasing expansions and updates for board games now is ubiquitous. It doesn't matter how simplistic, small, compact and tiny your game is. Manufacturers are already thinking about, can we expand this? Can we tweak this? Can we sell a new product for this? So I think David's right. The one and done board gaming thing, yeah. I think, okay, are you making the same argument as David, which is like a financial one? You get your 100 hours enjoyment out of it, you just buy another one for 60 to 80 quid. Yeah, no, a lot of board games are reprinted while they sell. Normally, a board games publisher will only stop printing a game when the sales aren't there. They will reprint an edition fucking 100, 200 times. They don't give a shit. They'll keep sending the orders to China. Print me another 10,000, I can sell them. Print me another 10,000, I can sell them. Okay, Jerry says that expansions. Maybe so, mate. I mean, virtually everything I look at has got an expansion on it at the moment. Maybe I'm just looking at the wrong games. But
the expansion's out the wazoo.
Yeah.
Looking at you, Everdell and Arkham Horror.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of a car. I literally cannot think of a board game product where I've looked at, considered buying, or even been vaguely interested in that doesn't have expansions.
But maybe that's just us with our attention span.
And the last comment on the slide is, what can we do about it? I think you can't do. Oh, okay. I'm always talking about hobby board games. I'm not talking about
Monopoly.
Yeah, I'm not talking about mass market games, because they are a different beast. It's a different market. We're talking about hobby board gamers. which are people like us with a collection. You know, they've got
full.
they've got a level investment over and above just checking the shelves at Target. Do you know what I mean? For those in America. Yeah. I think you're right, mate. Jerry's sort of agreeing with you, mate. I think that you're right. The whole motivation for it is the investment. You're so invested when you buy and play any war game, even if it's a small scale skirmish game. You're invested to a completely different degree.
And I think this is part of the reason why, like we've already touched on this evening with Frostgrave 2nd Edition, it wasn't half bad because obviously you still had your collection. The only thing that changed was like the spells. It's like, okay, that's not affected my minis. It's possibly affected a few of the print assets that I had, but what do you fucking do? Army composition changed a little bit, okay, but that was definitely for balance reasons and to make the game more enjoyable. I'm not going to knock the fact that I can't take 5 archers or knock the fact that I can't take as many archers as I used to be able to, because that was just egregious and turned the game into a field bads and a shooting gallery. So I get it, I really do. Versus certain other games and their edition changes where, again, stuff gets released and then is like, no, you can't play with that anymore.
Yeah. As gamers, if we play tabletop war games, you've got to expect these changes to come. Admittedly.
And again, maybe, just maybe, we shouldn't be such salty knee-jerk bastards and go, oh, well, we're not playing with that. We should give it a try and give it a chance before we throw it out with the bathwater.
Or, do you know what? Just do what a lot of the guys in chat have said, which is don't feel the pressure to go along.
That FOMO.
Yeah? We've said it, we've discussed it amongst ourselves and a few guys at the club. What about picking up the 8th edition index books on eBay and just going back and playing 8th? And just playing the game as it was set.
At that point when everything was set and level.
When it was set in time.
We even said that with 10th, the new 10th stuff, as stuff gets released and changed, we'll just stay with where we're at now with 10th.
See what Tim said? Not to be so salty, says the literal reason of this show for a salt shaker. Mate!
Tim is attacking me like the Facebook and Instagram algorithm has been attacking me all week. Jesus, Tim.
Yeah. So, do you know what? If you're one of these people who's currently screaming at the internet, the whole world's burning down because Games Workshop are at it again, here is the fucking news. They're always going to do it.
Can I quote a line from a video game here?
Yeah, go on.
War never changes from Fallout. It's always going to be the same, so stop fighting against the current.
Yeah. And do you know what? Nobody says you have to go along. Okay? I thought about doing a skit where I got all my Raven Guard and was just chucking them in the bin at the start of the show. But I am not going to do anything with my Raven Guard Firstborn army. And I will always look for chances to play them on the tabletop. Even after the fucking rules are long gone. Because if I have to, I'll go out and buy all the fucking 6th edition stuff off the internet. Or I don't care. I will find a way to play with my toys. My toys are where my investment lies, not the current edition of whatever fucking bells and whistles bullshit Games Workshop is playing. You know, I want to play with my toys. I will find a way to play with my toys. I do not need Games Workshop's permission, and I do not need their help. I need a friend, but that's all I need. And for God's sake, if you are in this hobby and honestly can't find a friend, my question would be, what the fuck are you doing?
Or jump ship to a game that is relatively stable.
Possibly
OPR
harsh,
anyone?
but just the way I feel. Anyway, we're getting towards the end. Before we go, here's for those who don't know what was going on, the Facebook drama around Frostgrave. A guy posted in the Frostgrave Facebook group that he'd had his second game of Frostgrave ever, and the people he'd played with had, to paraphrase, made it a shit game. Because what they did was, somebody used the elemental ball spell, which, to basically give you the gist, says pick a target, all models within 1 inch of this target take a hit, blah blah blah. The game degenerated into, where do you measure from? The model's base, the center of its base, the edge of its base, the model itself, the fucking... And basically, it's the kind of bollocks that you see discussed in 40k threads all the time. Okay? And but the vast majority of people who commented were like, what the fuck? Did these people even understand what this game is about? This is not this game. Why the fuck are you arguing about this sort of stupid shit? Get on, play the game. You know, and yes, there is a correct answer. If you look in the Frostgrave rulebook, it describes all measurement goes from a model. Bases are not a factor, and you are free to base your models how you
Because guess what? It's a base agnostic game, so you could stick it on a 100mm base and it wouldn't fucking matter!
If you were being a rules lawyery twat, Elemental Ball says pick a target, and the target is a model. So when you measure 1 inch, you measure 1 inch from the target, which was the model previously specified. Do you know what I mean? The answers are in the rules, but the point was, why the fuck are you getting so upset about this? You know? It's
why did it degenerate to?
And it was just great to see everybody weighing in with, what? And that is what we need to see more of. And not an intolerance, but an almost like...
disdain.
Yeah, contempt's probably too... Disdain's good. Disdain for just... No, don't
BS.
drag this into misery. If it's a miserable experience, you're doing it wrong.
Gaming should be fun. You're having fun with your friends. It should not be a chore. It shouldn't feel like you're suffering from a migraine.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's what we saw in the Frostgrave. If anybody wants to join the Frostgrave Facebook group, I'd recommend it. Great bunch of people. A fantastic spirit in there. Great to see the projects and the games. And, you know... It's just a fucking breath of fresh air. What's Jerry doing now? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're doing your fun wrong. No, just stop, people. Okay, thank you very much for everybody who was here tonight. Chat was amazing, as they always are.
Exciting as ever.
These are the people that really make the show. We're just a couple of idiots. If you're watching us later on YouTube, please try, if you can only do one thing, like the video. It only takes that, you know, you've only got to click that button, but it makes a massive difference to us if you do it. If you can do any of the other things, share, comment, subscribe, whatever, do those as well.
Every little helps.
Yep, we are eternally grateful. Yeah, I was thinking that the main topic really got away with us. I thought we'd struggle to get some legs out of it, but when we got ranting, we were ranting.
When we get salty, we do make something drag out a bit.
And do you know what? I hope that the discussion was useful, because if you consider this a safe haven from the fucking sky is falling chicken licking bollocks that frankly I'm getting a little bit tired of out there on the internet.
Everything is so clickbaity nowadays.
It is fucking tiresome. And I sort of did it a bit with the thumbnail. You know, if you came here for the fucking clickbait, you got. Because that's not the point. You know, yes, GW did it again. It's what they do. Being angry about it won't stop them. And you know what? If you start playing Firefight tomorrow, they won't care. They only wanted the first 24 months worth of sales anyway.
I was about to name drop Mantic as play games from a company that actually cares about you. There's loads of us out there as well. But Mantic lately are knocking it out of the park with their games and the content they are producing.
Yeah, I'll be honest. That's one reason I didn't do it Orinoco. I do have sort of little GW picks in the trash can on the beginning, but there is no GW in the title. It is mentioned in the description, but again, deliberate. Because I fucking hate clickbait. It's like because the thing is, again, I know it. I'm weird. You don't need to clickbait me. Just give me content with substance that tells me something, and I'm there. You don't have to hook me. I haven't got the fucking attention span of a goldfish. 30 seconds in.
That's me!
Oh no, this isn't what I wanted. I'm going to click off. Anyway, we're waffling. We're waffling. Thank you very much for being here. As I say, we've done the YouTube stuff. David and I are going to go. We had all the abuse. Scroll right up to back to the beginning of the video if you're watching this bit, and then you'll see Cheese Me hashtagging the shit out of us. All of our stream memes are getting some serious fucking legwork there. Right, and as Tim says, build more terrain. Because terrain is still, in my humble opinion, the most underrated and underappreciated part of what we do. See you later.
Terrain rules don't change.